Alright, so we're back here with another tutorial video. This time it's not a VOD like you guys are used to. This is a map and just general game knowledge type thing. Specifically what we're going over is going to be communication. Comms in Overwatch is a very interesting topic to actually talk about because of how hectic the game is and the fact that a lot of it can change depending on the team or if you're in solo queue versus a team. Because we all have had those games where we're just playing in a solo or a duo and nobody's talking and you just get stomped. You have a Reaper killing your Reinhardt in the back and he doesn't say anything even though you have a Brigitte and a McCree on your team that can just stun the guy. So, what I really want to talk through with communications is general role layout. And this time I'll be talking about main tanks. So with the pretty much 6 different roles, it's not 3, it's 6. There are the tanks, off tanks, and then for DPS there's hit scan and flex. And finally for support there is good old main healer, which is your Lucio's mercies, that sort of thing. And then flex healer, which actually can be anything, it's just they're the ones who are going to be switching first, so you can keep that Lucio, you can keep that mercy. Alright. So, each of these different roles have pretty big things, being what they're supposed to be actually talking about. The ones that are going to be talking the least probably be your DPS, because they need to be focusing on their aim and such. However, that's not who we're talking about today. We're talking about the one who's probably going to be talking the most, your main tank. So the main tank's just general responsibilities are they're supposed to be shot calling. That's a big one. But it's really not as big as its second responsibility. With its second responsibility, this is how you get your team to group up. If in a team environment, they should always listen to you. If they don't listen to you, you're on the wrong team. Or you've delegated this role to someone else. But most of the time, it should be the main tank, as they usually know how their resources on their shield are working and if they can actually get through a place or not. The shot calling is one role, 2, pathfinding. I'm going to go in depth with pathfinding first, as it usually is the thing that forces you into a shot calling situation. So, pathfinding. As you can see here, this is Horizon Lunar Colony. We're going to be taking the attacker's point of view, because with defenders you don't really need to be pathfinding as much as a main tank. You can call people from flanks to come help, but really you're just reacting to what they do, or what information you can gather with things like Widow Ultimate or a Hanzo Sonic Arrow, those sort of things. So let's say you are a good old Reinhardt. Yeah, he's not as meta anymore, but who cares? You're playing Reinhardt. So you're out here, coming out of spawn with your team of 6. You have a Zarya, you have a Ana, you have a Baptiste. And then for your DPS, you have a McCree and a Symmetra. Pretty common these days, and the only thing more common would be Reaper Mei or Mei Symmetra. So pretty much your goal here is to pick a way through this choke point. Now there are 3 ways that are most commonly done, but really there are more. There's more. With this comp, you can't use one of the extra ones, but there are exactly one. If you have a teleportation comp, you can get up here, but it's dangerous because you get shot here. Well, shot from the upper on the other side. That's why I'm discounting this first one. The second floor, where you usually see something like a Roadhog or a Torbjorn turret, sometimes a Doomfist. So that one's not going to be one I really talk about. But it is there. If you are running dive or you're running a teleportation comp, think about it. It might throw your enemies off. Then right under that is a big one. It's if you're going left and the enemy team is not holding up in the second floor building on the right side, then you can get through left fairly easily. It's going to force them to drop back at least and defend from two different angles, being right here, the stairs. They'll try and fire on you as you cross up through here so you can get to point. That's when you're going to be having problems with your McCrees and your Reapers flanking you. Just keep your eyes on a swivel. Get information from your teammates. And then the rest of them should be either directly confronting you from the other side or shooting from the window. Once you've taken this lower slot and you have a foothold, you now have a choice as a main tank. Now this is something that you really do want to decide before you even attempt to take this path. Whether you want to go directly left, up through here so you can get along the stairs and go up the stairs for the high ground. Now if they don't drop from high ground, that means you're going to be fighting up here and you might be getting flanked from the actual point. Now this is a great thing because it establishes high ground, and if you win it, it's pretty much an immediate point win. The only things that can really stop this are ultimates or if a Lucio boops your team off. And if Lucio boops your team off, then you can just reset to go a different path, or the same path even. The other choice is just going straight to point. This works better if you have a Mei or a Pharah, something that can kind of contest this window right here. Because if they have high ground, they can just shoot at you and then when necessary drop down. As soon as they get a pick, dead. But if they don't, good, pretty decent. So with your Symmetra, it's usually a good idea to get her into close range. However, with the McCree, you get that high ground, you get a pick with him, you just drop down with the Symmetra who's been shooting the enemy shields. Pretty good, pretty safe. She's probably going to be tier 2, tier 3, and you're just going to win the fight. So I suggest getting the high ground always. It's just sometimes it doesn't work out, so it's best to know all your options for that left side. So, with that, there's also other paths for the right side. With the right side, it's the more commonly seen one. It's the one that you see in solo queue, duo queue. You see it a lot in teams as well. There are, with the Symmetra, 4 ways to go on the right side. You can teleport up, which is very dangerous. If they're waiting here, you are probably dead, or at least going to lose time. You can go underneath this whole bridge area, and you can force them to contest you from the stairs, or drop down to flank you. This is a pretty decent situation if they are not coordinated enough, because if they don't correctly allocate their hero resources, one of the sides is going to be off balance, and you can go kill them, such as if there's 2 DPS on the stair side right here, and all other 4 drop. At that point, you just say, go and charge the DPS. What is the other team gonna do? Are they gonna protect them? Those DPS are very, very dead. Unless they have crazy mobility like a Tracer or a Doomfist. In those cases, yeah, it may not be a good idea to charge them. But if it's something like a May, a McCree, a Reaper, a Soldier, a Symmetra, go kill them. They've suicided. Now, once you kill them, you just pretty much take free point. It's a good coordination thing if you know the team you're working with. Now, the most common one that you see within your solo queue games is going directly from choke into this right room, around, up, and up through the stairs. This leads to a big brawl where a bunch of ultimates get built up, and they're going to be ready for the second fight. This is good if you have a close-range brawling team and they don't. Or the problem is, going this way, they have immediate high ground. Now, if you can force them off the high ground, it could be a easy take. But this can also be a good idea for a distraction to get something like a Doomfist behind. So you can just get a pick and run through. So this may be the most common one, but that's because it tends to be the most brawly, and if you win it as an attacker, you just get the point. There's nothing they can do about it. You've killed 3 to 4, so the other 2 have to run away or die, and by the time that those 3 or 4 come back from spawn, you're going to have at least 2 ticks. So yeah, if you feel confident that you're better than them, go for it. Now for the final, more normal one, because there is also the teleport into window strat, of course. However, that could be bad if they react well to it. That's the problem. Because you're just going to be there with no time to set up, especially if you don't know if there's anybody playing on this left side. They're just going to walk to window, get free fire. Meanwhile, the rest of their team is going to push through there. Right through the right. So the last, honestly, unorthodox, but you do see it occasionally, is the outside put. If you do this, expect to get flanked. You're gonna get flanked. They're gonna see you push through. Someone's going to come flanking right from the stairs, and then the rest are all going to stack on this door because you have now bottlenecked yourself. You can only come from one way. That flanker is just going to go behind and see where you're going. Now you can leave someone with high damage potential, like your McCree from the start, near those doors to see, hey, let's see if we can kill this flanker and get a pick. And if that happens, yeah, it's pretty much a free push. 5v6, when you get a pick, and it is in a 6v5 scenario, it ends up being about a 75% win ratio for the team that got the pick. So yeah, you can do that. However, what usually ends up happening is the team that goes outside gets stagnated right outside, and they end up losing all their shields, and someone eventually gets picked, or they just waste so much time that it's completely worthless. So it's a possibility if you want to throw them off, but I do not recommend it. So, that's pathfinding. You have, as the main tank, you want to be thinking about which ways can I take my team? What are their characters good at? What are the characters bad at is a more important thing quite a bit more often. And call a route that you think will give you the highest chance of success. Now the second big thing, shot calling. This is where you pretty much have, the best way to explain it is, when you start a fight, what target do you call? You're not really doing the strategizing of ultimates or tracking the enemy ultimates. No, that's other people's jobs. Your job is to look at what's in front of you and what you can hit. Let's say you guys are all up here and you're gonna do a sim teleport strat. You call to do a more unorthodox one, so you can throw a nice little teleporter right up on the walkway up here. If they don't react to it quickly, yeah, you instantly get all the high ground, and it's yours. They have to have something to boop you off, or they have to just try and kill you. That's can be unlikely, but with Lucio being so prevalent, not always. So, you teleport up here. Now all 6 of you are up here. Oh wait, you're not. Taking the teleporter, with the way that bodies in Overwatch work, you can't all teleport at once. You can teleport almost at once, but it's going to take about a half second to get you all through. This is where, as a main tank, shot calling is extremely important. Because, oh no, the entire enemy team, being a Junkrat, another Reinhardt, a Zarya as well, then they have a Moira as the support, along with a Baptiste support. And then for their final DPS, they have a Mei, if I can find her here. There she is. Thing is, with your comp here, I'm about to go through the teleporter, is that you are not as suited to close range as them. Yeah, you have the anti-nade, yeah, you have the Symmetra. Big thing is, with that many clustered up bodies, and you in the way, that anti-nade may not hit, or it may get blocked by the Reinhardt shield. And your McCree, he's gonna get a flashbang off, it's gonna hit multiple. However, if that gets blocked, you're screwed. And with the Zarya probably immediately projecting her bubble on a Rein to get the charge at the start of a match, it's going to go very, very badly for you. So as a main tank, your entire team's about to come through this port. In fact, they already started to. Your job is to make a call immediately of what you are doing here. You can call a target. Say you're going to just immediately hit the Rein. Boom, you hit the Rein. Now you're gonna start getting frozen, and you may die. So what? If you hit the Rein, you're gonna create space, or you're gonna force him to hold a shield. With that strategy, though, they have the Mei, they have the Moira, they have the Baptiste. This is a very favored fight. As a tank, shot calling involves one extra thing, other than just calling a target what you can hit. It's calling a very, very quick strategy. Like, oh, go right, go left, whatever. It's similar to pathfinding, however, it is less thought about, more intuition. So in this situation, you need to tell your team what you're going to do. And in these cases, me personally, I would suggest, go back through the teleporter or drop. You probably don't know what their entire comp is, but they were hiding for you. They had guessed what you were going to doing, and you should reset. So, shot calling is a fast form of strategy. I guess you could consider it it's a leadership role, but it's not the leadership role. You're the one that people are supposed to follow, and you're the one that you're supposed to make them confident about their targets. Because if you tell a McCree that you are going to be hitting the Reinhardt, that tells him that, oh, that Reinhardt is either A, going to hold a shield, and I can try to flashbang above it, which will cause him to drop his shield, or B, the enemy Reinhardt is just going to swing, so that gives me free fire. At that point, the other characters have the other roles in the game, being flex support, main healer, whatever, have their duties to do immediately at the same time, pretty much. But it's your job to give a vocal decision, a snap decision of what you want to do, whether it be wrong or right. Having a bad decision is better than having no decision. Alright, well, that's pretty much it for what a main tank should be calling. So, till next time, where we will be going over our main healer's duties. Then we'll be going over our off tank. Because those three tend to get a bit closer. And off tank isn't as important as your main healer and his calls usually. Alright.